My name is Anne. I am a guard. I'm a member of the Guard Síochána for 24 years. I found out about the cycle because a friend of mine had done it a few years beforehand. He'd been on the cycle himself, and I just thought it was such a good thing to do, to spread the word. So like I said, I'm a member of the Guards for a long time now, and I've had to deal with a lot of things over the years in relation to my job and suicide. I was fresh out of Templemore, the Garda Training College, in 1995, when one of the first things I had to deal with was a lady who had died by suicide in a hotel room, and I had stayed with that lady for 3 hours until the undertakers came. It was hard to deal with because, like I said, I was fresh out of the college. It's not something any sort of training can prepare you for. The lady had died over issues she had over financial problems, and being in that room for 3 hours was hard for a number of reasons. You just felt so sorry for her and her family, and I'll never forget the smell of her perfume was quite strong in the room. And while I moved on, the smell of the perfume hit me one day on a bus, and it actually brought me right back to the scene, and I had to get off the bus because I just felt so emotional about it again. That was the first thing at work, but like, there's nothing can prepare you for anything like that. There's nothing, or prepare you for having to go to a parent's house and the grief that comes with that. And it's really hard as a first responder, and I know it's hard for everybody, but being that person that has to tell that woman that her child is dead is just awful. But I guess for me, it's, you know, you signed up to be a guard. You signed up for the good as well as the bad and the horrible, and you put your professional face on and you go out and you do your job, and you have your little cry about it afterwards if you need to. But it was very different for me last year when, I suppose, suicide came knocking a bit closer to home when my friend died. I'll never forget my husband's face when he had to tell me that my friend had died, and we were away on holidays at the time, and it was extremely difficult for him. That was February 2018, and I had the immediate feelings that you hear about when you hear about somebody close to you dying by suicide. And I just felt that the ground was just swallowing me up, and what could I have done, and all the questions why and what if, and could I have made a difference. It's been a year now, just over a year since my friend died, and it's still, the devastation and the sadness is still very real. I still go to pick the phone up to talk to him, as I did last week when I had a question to do with the work. He was a colleague as well as a friend, and I tried to call him to help me with something, and needless to say, I was halfway through dialing and I realised he's not there. Last year I went on the cycle against suicide because maybe the first reason was a little bit selfish, and still is going to be selfish this year, in that it's helping me deal with the grief and the loss of my friend. And also the big part for me is to help people realise that, there is help out there, and if we can help one person to come out of that feeling that there is nothing for them to live for, then it would mean an awful lot to me personally. I wrote a letter to my friend last year before I went on the cycle, and I have it if you'd like to hear it. Dear Foxy, it's been a rough few months since February the 10th, the day you died by suicide. I won't lie, I'm still very raw, and I don't know whether I'm still shocked by your death, angry with you for taking your own life, or sad because I'll never see you again, or guilty for not being there when you needed someone most. I think it's a bit of all of the above. I miss you, my friend, we all do. I miss calling you, asking you how things are, and your reply was always tickety-boo, or are you well? And your response was always, I was well once. I miss the chats over the coffee or pints about life, work, and the never-ending slagging each other and everyone else. There are little things that I notice now, like the amount of times I've picked up the phone to call or text you. I've lost count. I've read the last text we exchanged so many times since you died. Me telling you about my husband getting promoted and you saying, wow, congratulations, he so deserves it. And the final message you sent me was a joke and I didn't respond. And that was 9 days before you died. I wonder would it have made a difference if I had. I'll never know, just like no one will ever know why you thought ending your life was the answer to whatever turmoil you had in your head, whatever suffering you were going through. But then speaking of stress or anxiety or depression is so hard, especially as a man, and even worse as a detective and superintendent in the Guards. I wish it wasn't like this. I have lots of wishes, Colin. I wish I could have been your shoulder like you were mine so many, many times. I wish I could have helped you in your loneliest hours. I wish I could have been there on February the 10th to change your mind. And I wish you were still here, because then I wouldn't feel so guilty for not knowing how low you were. And I also wish you were still here, because then I wouldn't have to be suffering with saddle sores on the cycle against suicide. We were friends for over 22 years, Colin, and during that 22 years we were colleagues and friends, and I'm forever grateful to God, fate, or whoever I am to be thankful for us coming together in life. You taught me, nurtured me, celebrated the most important events in my life, and remained my true friend right to the end. I'm cycling for Cycle Against Suicide with Congo, Odd and the Fat Pagan, and cycling in spirit with us are Fitzy, Mary Dempsey and Lafo couldn't make it this year. We are doing this to remember you, celebrate our friendship, celebrate your life, and most of all, to spread the word that we all wish you heard on February the 10th. That it's okay not to feel okay, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. Rest in peace, Colin. We all love and miss you. I suppose the main objective of the Cycle Against Suicide is to change the attitudes to suicide. It's not just any one person that's going to be hurt by this. It's far-reaching. So I guess what I'd like to see for the Cycle Against Suicide this year is to try and surpass the numbers that we've had, which have been huge. The amount of people who are coming out wearing the jersey, and everyone knows that the orange cyclists are about Cycle Against Suicide. The support we get in the villages and towns all over the country is absolutely phenomenal. Like people coming out of their houses on country roads when they know you're passing by, everything, it's just wonderful. But let's try and build it even bigger. Let's try and get as many people out. Let's really try and spread the word. 1 day, 5 days, 10, whatever days you can manage. It doesn't have to be full 10 days of the cycle. Just whatever you can manage. And it's not a thing where, you know, you need to be a super cyclist. I'm not a super cyclist, but you'll get a sore butt, but that's about the height of it. You'll enjoy it, and you'll enjoy the fun and the camaraderie on the cycle. It's amazing. So please do turn up. And if you can't turn up, turn out and support us along the way. Thank you very much.